Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Milncraft here, and we've got a TvP for you today between FXOMoonan and Socke. And now it looks like Socke, and in fact it is German for sock, but it's pronounced Socke. I'm not very good at German though, I took Spanish, so if I pronounce it incorrectly and just say sock, then please forgive me. This map is going to be on Xel'Naga Caverns, as you can see. Most of you are probably familiar with Xel'Naga Caverns. It's one of the oldest maps available, and one of the most popular maps because it's so fair and balanced, as opposed to like Fox News, which is not necessarily as fair or as balanced. And of course, stole Xel'Naga Caverns' slogan. Now we see here, as I said, and I've got the little funny nameplates at the top. But this is a match between, Terran versus Protoss, which tends to be very good matches. Lots of micromanagement that has to be done. The Terran player likes to fight in the open with the Marauders and the Marines. I'm going to switch to the production tab to make sure if we see any funniness going on. And this map is a good map to do it. The Terran player is going to want to fight in these areas so that force fields can't lock his army out, whereas the Protoss player is going to want to fight in these small alleyways in order to limit the amount of range the Terran player is going to be able to have on it so that the Colossus could take out any Marines or that they can storm them without being able to dodge too much. Now this map is from the IGN Pro League 2 Qualifier. This is a best of 3, so we will have additional games for you. I won't say how many because that would spoil this game, but we will have at least one more game for you, depending on if the person who wins this game is going to be the same person as the one who wins the next game, of course. We see a relatively standard opening. We see a little bit of pro harassment on the part of Socke. He's a little SCV is teaching that probe a lesson, scaring it away with its little taser, with his little drill. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Just stabbing him right in the little face. Noise that little robot probe. Terran player is going to go up here, check out what's going on, drill this building just for a little bit of fun. Probe's going to go ahead and skedaddle out of there so it doesn't get shot by the Marine. A Marine saying, hey, stop messing with my buddies. We see a reactor going down. It's a reactor plus another barracks, which means it's not going to be something like reactor Hellions, which is relatively rare against Protoss. Well, not super rare, but it's a little rare. But it does mean, in fact, that he's going to be going for a very Marine-heavy build, and probably for a Marine-heavy push, if I had to guess, a little bit early on. Perhaps not, though, because Stalkers are pretty good against Marines. They have faster speed and faster range, and that, wow, I mean, like, he drilled through the shields in that pylon, but then that Zealot taught him a lesson not to mess with the Protoss race. Little probe just hanging out at the XelNaga watchtower, making sure nothing's going on, which is always a good thing to do. You always want to maintain vision to see if your opponent's doing anything tricky. This Marine's probably going to move up and scare that probe away. And actually, we can go to Socke's. Yep, he sees the probe. He's going to go ahead and move away. We're going to look at his little cam right now and see him marching around. And we see actually that he does in fact have a Stalker and a Zealot. It looks like he's going to go ahead and move out just with the Zealot for now. Go ahead and go to Fox Moon's viewpoint. I always find it interesting to see how other players play and be able to compare it to see, like, if you're doing things like the pro players are, whether or not, like you can be doing good things or not. So I find it helpful. We do see a little bit of a poke out here. It's not going to do too much damage because of the wall here and the Marines at the top of the ramp. He's going to build a bunker just to be safe. Although it looks like that SCV is probably going to get picked off before the Marines get up to be able to deal damage, but that Marauder is going to scare away any more aggression from the Protoss player. He's going to finish the bunker just to be safe. There's no reason not to be safe. If I had to guess, actually, it looks like he's going for a bit of early aggression. Actually, he's sending 4 SCVs as well, so he wants to deal some damage to the Protoss player right now. And he's actually going to go walk right past the little Protoss army and head straight for the Protoss base here. So we see some good aggression. This bunker is going to be able to keep his army safe at home. Or be able to keep his base safe at home while he's off marching. And actually, these are rallied directly to his army as well. Oh, nice move, taking out that sentry there. That was very poor placement on the part of Socke. Because you don't want to lose sentries. There are 150 minerals and gas combined, including 100 gas, which is a lot of gas to be spending, especially at this point of the game before you even have a second base up. We see a bunker going down. He's got replacement SCVs, which can obviously... and that's definitely going to need to be canceled. Going to cancel that. Which the replacement SCVs are if these SCVs get picked off who are building the bunkers. The other ones SCVs are going to do it. So we see a contain from Fox Moon. We see the probes coming out. So we're going to see some worker on worker battle here. Unfortunately, the bunkers are not going to be finished. The force field didn't really help terribly. And oh wow, the Terran player definitely came ahead there. We go to the units lost tab. Ooh, see more action coming on. Let's go to the units lost tab. There we go. We see that the Protoss players lost about 100 more units. However, they're giving things up a little bit. He wants to kill as many of these workers as possible. Workers are indispensable for the Protoss player because it's their only source of income. Terran player workers are important too because they can't rebuild them faster, as fast at least as the Protoss can. And you see why. You saw in that little demonstration why Stalkers are so good against Marines because they have longer range and they can move faster, so they can just move back, fire. And this guy was able to move to the back of the line to make sure he wasn't killed. And they have 80 shields you have to break through before you even start doing any real damage anyway. So that's why it's so important. You see 2 more bunkers going down. In fact, the Terran player isn't expanding right now, which is very interesting. I will point out I was, of course, incorrect. He didn't have to cancel the Nexus. Protoss player was so determined that he was able to bring out his workers and be able to push the Marine player off. Very good job. I thought he was for sure going to be outmatched in that, especially with those bunkers going down. I thought those bunkers were going to finish, and he was going to have to cancel the expansion, but great work being able to keep it. He's now way ahead economically of the Terran player. His expansion is finished, and the Terran player is just starting. He's still got 65 seconds left and counting in order to be able to finish his command center, and then he still has to be able to make sure that the Protoss player is not sniffing around down here before he's able to move it down. Now we see both Stim and Terran infantry weapons. It's actually worth noting that normally, these upgrades you think of kind of a shorter term thing, and these weapons upgrades tend to be a longer term thing, but actually with the new patch, Stim pack actually takes longer to finish than infantry weapons level 1. Terran player, Protoss player actually, sorry, Socke. He's going to hang out here, make sure that no command center comes out. He's just going to do a little bit of a mini contain here, kind of what the Terran player wanted to do to him, but without the benefit of bunkers, because of course he's a Protoss player, he doesn't get the benefit of bunkers. We see a robotics facility, completely standard, getting a observer. I suspect at some point soon he's going to be going for the Colossus tech as well, because basically Protoss players have 2 relatively normal choices, and actually he's just going to be able to move out. He doesn't want to get caught by any sort of concussive shells from the Marauders. But they have really 2 choices of tech that they can choose. They can either go the Colossus route, or they can go the double upgrade route, which you get 2 forges, and then you get double weapons, double armor, which is really effective with gateway units because they end up taking so little damage from Marines, and Zealots are able to deal so much damage back that they're actually just able to take the day. Now, in this case, typically speaking, if you go for Colossus Tech, it's a huge investment because it's 200 gas, 200 minerals to build your robotics bay, support bay, and then it's another 20 or 200 for extended thermal lance and 300 for a Colossus. And while that's building, you have no benefit from all of those resource invested. You see the robotics bay is on the ground now. Observer getting there just in time to see the Terran player poking out. So actually right now this is going to be when the Protoss player is weakest. However, because he took such a big advantage early on by getting his expansion established so much earlier than the Terran players, it means that he's actually going to be relatively safe from this. I'm not saying he's not going to take damage. I'm just saying it's going to be a little safer than he could have been otherwise. And it looks like the Terran player is not necessarily. He might just be going for a drop on the side, or just poking around, making sure that there's no third base taken. That's what the Terran player wants to stop from happening right now, is to fall even farther behind. So you can either go be desperate, do a drop to try to deal as much damage as possible, or you just try to catch up, slowly but surely by staying alive. Make sure you can take little advantages where they are by picking off random pylons, and doing all sorts of things like that. In this case, he is going to go for the drop. The Marines are going to go up here. They're going to spot the pylon. Yes, they are. They're going to take that out as soon as he notices. Stalkers, of course, were able to predict that. And actually, he was able to take out not just the medevac, and he needs to get out of there. He needs to stim and get out of there. He is going to get destroyed. He's going to lose at least 2 more Marauders. Oh my goodness. Oh, just 1 Marauder. Marines are not going to be able to take that out before it dies, and they'll be lucky if the medevac's going to survive. The medevac's not going to survive. No way. Oh my goodness, it survives with 7 hit points. I did not think there was any chance at all that it was going to be able to make it. That's ridiculous. Great work there by FXOMoonan. I thought he was just going to move the medevac out, but he's actually able to save the Marines as well. I didn't have to sacrifice any of his blood. Nobody left behind. That's his motto. Fight for FXOMoonan. Socke, meanwhile, is going for Colossus. I do not believe he does not have extended thermal lance yet. Just starting now. You got to be a little careful about when you get that. And that factory, scooting around a little bit, that's going to go down. Unfortunately, well, unfortunately for FXOMoonan. And actually, he's just going to ignore it right now. He wants to go take out this drop that he sees. The drop which is able to snipe the pile in there. Good work, trying to gain little advantages. Might. Nope, now we got two little medevacs just hiding out there. He's got to be real careful with those. However, he could if he just sent these home right now. He doesn't know this, of course, but if he sent them home right now, he'd be able to make it. We see an armory coming down. That's interesting. Probably going to be going for Thors, I would guess. No, it could be Thors. He must be going for air weapons for the Vikings. Oh, I'm sorry. It's for upgrades. My mistake. He was getting an armory for upgrades. I was going to say, why is he floating the factory around if he was planning on using it? And of course, he just wants to get the 2-2 upgrades. Protoss player actually is just getting level 1 now, so the Terran player is ahead with his 1-1 upgrades. That's going to give him a good advantage, not as big of an advantage as the Colossus and the Immortals give him, though. He's not going to want to fight this battle, at least not too much. A great move, getting right behind those force fields, able to snipe a couple of units, then get out of there. That was terrific micromanagement on the part of FXOMoonan. Great job. If those force fields came down half a second sooner, then half of his army would have been trapped, would have been destroyed, and he would have been really far behind. So absolutely terrific move on his part. Protoss player doing ring around the rosy, looking for the factory. I'm going to shoot it and poke it with the little flash.